Welcome to the Judgment-Free Zone. You've downloaded the alcohol-free Marriage and More podcast with Matt and Amy, recorded live from the cornfields of Central Illinois. Welcome to episode 88 for September 4th, 2024.
Hello there, children. Welcome back to your weekly freak show that is the alcohol-free Marriage and More podcast. I'm Matt, along with the always lovely and three-take lady tonight, Coach Amy. How are you, my love?
I am good.
We're just on the struggle bus a little bit.
With tonight, everybody. This is an evening. Actually, you will be getting
Nobody
this
cares.
whenever it gets out.
Amy, we live in the world of time shifting. It doesn't matter.
I know.
Time shift. Whenever they want. As the PQ coach says, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, or something like that.
Oh, Shirzad, he does.
He does. Good morning, good afternoon.
I love it.
Yes.
He's so zen.
So zen.
He really is. He's just, really have enjoyed you doing that.
My PQ. If you want to learn more about PQ.
Oh, you know what?
Mental intelligence or mental health, mental intelligence. It's mental. Hold on. Mental intelligence, isn't it?
It's positive intelligence. And it's mental
strength.
Fitness.
That's why I'm not the coach, people.
We're going to get you there.
Apparently, I need the remedial class.
Did we do?
No, we're going to now that I've completed it. But stick around for that. No, not this week.
No,
no.
Are we going to do that? Do you want me to do the exercise with everybody?
Not right now. No.
Okay.
No, not today. That's not the vibe we're going with. Amy, we have family secrets to talk about, okay? Let's get to that in a minute.
Family secrets.
Before we get to family secrets,
don't forget,
it was actually. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this podcast with your friends. Always visit joyontheotherside.com. That's Coach Amy's awesome landing page where you can download our Beyond Spirits, the 7 tips to start your AF journey, and you can find our weekly marriage guide. But those links to make it super easy for you are right down below in the description.
Order our shirts.
The shirt that I'm wearing right now that you still don't have. I'm just going to give you the sweatshirt and call it a day.
I do not have that.
You do not have.
But
if I got you one,
then
what would you ask
every single week? When do I get my shirt?
I know. I should just get a stack.
But
anyway. But in a random...
Actually, I found out. I have a source for us to do some one-offs or do smaller quantities.
Really?
Yes.
Well, we'll have to talk about that later.
We will.
Because... This isn't bad. This isn't bad, but it's not. I'm very much a fabric snob. So
you are a snob.
Amy, a little random fact of the week I wanted to share before we get into our drink of the week. The U.S. Open had their themed drink, which actually was kind of fun looking because they used 3 little melon balls to look like tennis balls on the top, which was kind of cute. They charged
honeydew melon.
Honeydew, thank you. It was $23 a drink.
Jeepers.
And I think I have my million. I think it made $10 million
That's crazy.
in revenue off this one drink.
You think 10 million? I'm going to make that change.
I don't think it's 23 drinks. I was 23 million. I think it's 10 million.
10 million.
$10 million.
Wow,
but
that's
still,
a lot.
That's a lot of booze. But you could easily make that same drink. Cute and all, people.
I want the cute drink.
But see, they could probably still have charged $23 for the NA version.
I don't know.
Maybe not. Maybe 15.
I wasn't drinking, so
even
sometimes I get a little bit smarter on that. I'm like,
even when I was drinking, $23.
That's a lot.
You'd have.
I mean, come on.
There wasn't even
for any drink. $23 for any drink, unless it's like a big fish bowl that you're all gonna belly up to. But I mean, really.
I mean, all I had is vodka.
I'm all about if I'm gonna go to a restaurant and I'm gonna have a nice drink or something.
But a tall boy beer at the Cubs game is like $12. So
I'm not buying that either.
No, we don't buy that either. But
I wasn't probably.
But one thing we do buy is drinks from our friends at Go Brewing. Check out the link below. You get $5 off your first order. I'm sad to share this one because this is their Go Oktoberfest, which is limited and already sold out. I don't know if they're making more or not. They may, so keep an eye out. Yeah. But it was just want to be a plug to check out. Athletic had a good Oktoberfest last year. Untitled Art had a good Oktoberfest. Bravis had an Oktoberfest. I wouldn't be surprised to see others with Oktoberfests this year. So if you hear of one, those, let me know. Email Amy at amy@jointheotherside.com and let us know if there's another Oktoberfest.
Yes, let us know. Let us know if you are going to be partaking in an NA Oktoberfest.
A Soberfest. Ooh, like what I just did.
Soberfest.
October Soberfest. Oh, trademark.
Let's do this. Let's do Soberfest.
Soberfest.
October.
Soberfest. Soberfest.
Kind of like that.
Another T-shirt.
Join us for Soberfest.
Okay. Amy, what's your drink?
My
Not
drink.
new necessarily.
No, but we're just excited. I don't even know why I'm putting this up here.
Because it's a video. If you go to the YouTubes, you can watch all this craziness on YouTube.
Anyways, it's Tost again, but this is their rosé. But what we're really trying to show everybody is they have the individual servings. And
because otherwise you got to open like a big like champagne-sized bottle.
I really do like this because this is the sparkling white tea, ginger, and elderberry. And I really like it.
But it does have a little caffeine. So if you're sensitive, Amy doesn't have it later in the day. I have no problem with caffeine later in the day. But if you are,
well, I just really can't have it as an evening drink. Yeah. I mean, I could probably have it with dinner or something.
It wouldn't it's like a cup of coffee.
No, but it's just, I can't sit there and go, I'm going
to party it up with my toast.
Otherwise, I'm going to be up all night. Woohoo! Because that's what happens.
All right, Coach Amy, I want you to talk to us about this interview we have coming up. I'm very excited about it. I had a lot of fun doing it.
I know, we did.
It was funny because it was actually switched platforms from Zoom to something else, but we were trying it out with your sister, and they were in the house.
Yeah. Well,
so we had them downstairs. And I don't really have a good way to set up 4 people in this room, so it made sense. It really did.
Yes, but the reason that we were together this week, we were supposed to be right now on a big body of water.
Yes, up in Michigan.
Lake Huron. But last week, our worlds went upside down and sideways. My dad, we got a phone call at
early, 6 o'clock, 6:30
yeah, 6:30ish on Tuesday morning that my dad was being air flighted. Or is that right?
Yeah, air flight, whatever.
From hometown or where my parents lived down around the Effingham area up to Springfield, and my dad was had a heart attack or was having a cardiac event.
Whatever, yeah.
However they call that, but and we found out he actually had this was like number 2 on the heart attack. He had one like they're pretty sure it was Sunday. But due to the fabulous advancements of modern day medicine, he was able to get a stent put in his, whatever the artery in the front of your heart was 100%.
Or the one blocked. That feeds the front of your heart. I don't know. This is not the cardiologist cast.
Yes, but they were able to not crack his chest. I mean, I don't even know if they do that.
For full bypass, I think you would. But I think for any of the stents, they just go up your arm.
Yeah, they went up his arm, up an artery. He was awake. He actually watched part of it.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. But he is doing amazing. He was released to go home on Thursday. So prayers were much appreciated that he will follow the directions of the doctor, follow the medication schedule that he needs to be on and he has to do. But talked to him just a little bit ago and he seems to be doing well. So,
but throughout all of that, your sister, instead of us going north,
we called and I just said, we're not going to come because we just didn't feel like we wanted to have everybody up 9 hours away.
It didn't seem like the prudent thing to do at the moment.
And so still feeling like it was a good decision. Still hovering. I feel like we're hovering right now. Like if something happened, obviously we're going to be rescheduling.
As I said, if you stayed and nothing happened, it'd be fine. But if you went and something did, it'd be a total.
Yeah. So
better, yeah.
But so my sister, she asked, well, should I come? And I said, if it was me, I would come. Just because at that point, you just are like, I don't know. So they came down. A couple of my nephew and my niece came. And
soon to be niece-in-law, I guess.
Came down. They all arrived on, I don't know.
We basically turned into a bed and breakfast. Your mom was here. Your brother was here.
Yeah, they ended up getting, like on Wednesday. Anyways, and long story short.
Too late.
Everything. Yes. Sorry. Too late. Everything is going well now. Yes. But we decided to stay. They came down. So we kind of incorporated everything together. We're able to do a podcast because we've talked about this. They were on our, what I would call the old podcast, yes. Which would have been kind of a buzzcast.
Basically a drunk cast, yeah.
But we wanted to have them on, and because we have many times called them the unicorns, and my sister.
The unicorns because they're literally take or leave it drinkers. They really don't drink.
So we were interviewing them. There is a family secret that
there's a couple that come out.
We candidly had a good conversation about like what they felt, what they thought of our drinking.
We've never talked about like our past habits with them. And
not really.
No. And there's some interesting things that come up.
So it's really good. And so we are going to be bringing you. This is my sister Susan Smith. Her husband is Eric Smith, and they are from Saginaw, Michigan. And they are delightful people. I wish we lived closer to them.
But we don't. So kids, enjoy this interview and family secrets with Susie and Eric.
So I'm going to start this over. So this is the interview, Matt, that everybody's been asking for.
Or nobody.
These are the two people that we have for years. Or the last couple of years, we have called you
the unicorns.
The unicorns. You guys are magical unicorns.
Do you know why we call you the unicorns?
Yep. No.
Okay.
Well, let's introduce our guest first.
All right. Well, this is my sister and my brother-in-law, Eric and Susie Smith. They are actually not very far away from us. They're downstairs right now.
We're actually
in Michigan.
In Michigan.
We were supposed to be on a trip, and unfortunately, our dad had a heart attack, actually had 2 heart attacks, and he is still with us.
Thank God.
9 lives. Yes, thank God. He has 9 lives. He's doing well. He's at home, and we were supposed to be with you guys, and we thought we have got to change our plans.
And here we are.
And
let's do a Zoom call while we're in the same
like,
house.
You know what? I think actually you guys said we should do a podcast. Susie said it.
I can't believe I actually said that.
So we thought, let's interview you guys, and we're going to go
a long time.
To the magical unicorn. And the magical unicorn, we call you that, is because you are truly people who can moderate alcohol. And you can have a drink and then not have a drink for a long time.
Or only have a drink.
Yes.
But first, introduce yourself. Who are you? Where are you?
Well, How
long have they been married? Like the marriage aspect.
How long have you guys been married?
28 years. Were you wondering? I
was waiting for you to answer. See if you knew.
28 years.
28 years. And what do you do for a living? Both of you.
I am a principal of a Lutheran school in Bay City, Faith Lutheran. And Eric is...
I teach at a high school. I'm a strength coach and a former theology teacher, former athletic director, and a football coach.
At Valley Lutheran High School. We'll just put the plug in there. We probably should do that.
Okay, there you go. We went the plugs.
So I guess I'm going to
go. Jump in, Matt. Jump in.
So you guys, as we already said, you guys are the unicorns. You don't like you probably are the definition of moderation. Like take it or leave it, whatever. You really don't care. You don't seek it out. Like whenever, like.
The only time they drank was with us.
With us, yeah. We were your dealers.
But pretty much you are, yes.
But were you guys ever really big drinkers? I mean, not that I recall, but I always drank with you, so I didn't notice.
Anytime we visited you.
I know. We were the people your parents warned you about.
But were you drinkers like on your own through college and that type of stuff, really?
A little bit.
I mean, not much.
Don't lie. We drank at college. Bit,
but yeah, just normal.
When we were 21.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. But not a lot. Like even in college, like, we did the fun stuff when you turned 21, but. Not
Yeah,
really.
Were you weren't like weekend binge drinkers or?
No.
No.
No, because it
Okay.
makes me sick.
And see how smart she is? No, because it makes me
No,
sick.
clarify that though. I mean, we're not perfect. I mean,
No, exactly.
we don't judge other people, but we've never been huge like lifelong like let's go get a drink people. We just
Yeah.
No.
if we want to have a drink, we have a drink.
Yeah.
Although Eric, I will say this, Eric is very good about, he doesn't like to drink in front of any of his students because he doesn't want them to have that be their thought that Mr. Smith is out drinking. It's cool.
But also, my dad never drank. I don't remember. I've never in my life seen my dad drink ever.
No.
Really?
No.
Really?
I mean, we would even in China. We used to live in China, and they brought rice wine to our whole entire table once. And I remember he just gave it to somebody else. I mean,
I think he does toast with like water.
yeah. So it was never in our house, and it's never really part of our house.
Yeah.
And so,
right. Unless we brought it back in the day, but yeah.
Yeah. Well.
No, seriously. And I
but
wanted to
your
talk
family-
about
Your
this
family
too.
didn't drink a lot growing up, did they?
Oh, my dad,
Well,
our dad would have a
you-
beer every once in a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah, Dad, there
You
were a
want to
few
walk
times there were a few times that I remember like friends being over and that
Mhm.
Dad would drink. But no, our
But
family didn't drink
It's interesting
very much.
that you and Susie raised in the same house took different drinking paths altogether.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I started drinking at age 15.
I don't know what to say about that.
I mean, I just did. I mean, that's what I was running around. I was a stupid kid.
Do you think, Susie and Eric, do you think it's your lack of interest was just the circle of friends maybe? You do become who you hang out with. Is that part of it? Or is it because, you are Lutheran teachers, so you've always kind of been
Well, in
use
high
the word
school,
religious?
like our friends, the group of friends that I hung out with, we just hung out and had fun. We didn't do that.
Yeah.
It was the
Yeah,
stuff
see, it
in
was-
the house.
It was different.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny as you just said that, like those kids, I hung out with their older siblings, and that's what we did. So it's very interesting, like even within different family dynamics.
Yeah, I think like,
I mean, because we're about 5. I'm 5 years older than you,
Mhm.
so I don't even know if that time difference even could be a part of it too.
I don't know.
But anyways, I wanted to ask Eric because Eric would not always, but would ask us sometimes, like, what is it like to be a functional alcoholic?
What?
You asked a question?
You asked me that one time
Really?
with
You asked me
about
that?
Matt. About Matt.
Well, I always said I used to always tell. I don't know if I ever tell you guys this, but when I taught health class, I used to always say I have a good friend who is a nonviolent alcoholic. He has alcohol in his hand all the time, and not in a bad. I didn't say that in a bad way. I just said
No.
this person is always drinking alcohol, and he is completely functional. And I would always think in my brain, it's my brother-in-law Matt. Not that I dislike him, not that I
Do you
felt it
know
was
that
bad.
our kids just found that out, like
And
just
yeah,
not
I
too long
taught
ago?
all my kids
That
health
was
class,
Uncle
and I always
Matt?
said, and saying so, I didn't think that you were. I'll be honest with you. I never would have said that you had a problem with it, but I would just say he always has alcohol in his hand, and I would wonder if you stopped drinking alcohol, if you'd be able to not have that drink. And when I said that, like in health class, I would never think of you as an alcoholic. That's why when you actually do this podcast, I kind of chuckle because I'm like, we're not alcoholics.
Yeah, we didn't see you as that.
I didn't see you as that.
Well-
But I would always kind of say, I have a good friend who always constantly has alcohol, but he doesn't ever have a problem with it. And so there you go, Matt. You made my health class without you knowing it.
Well, but when you say that too, because we talk about that here a lot, is that we don't identify with the word alcoholic, and just as many people who do listen here, it's alcohol use disorder, and it's a spectrum. So you have people who, everybody, if you've had a drink of alcohol, you are on this spectrum. So you have people who are like you guys, who are way over here, like this literally. Maybe I'll have a drink once in a while. And then you have people who are all the way, kind of go all the way over here, who like are truly addicted to the substance. We really weren't addicted physically to the substance. We were more so addicted to the habit and the patterns.
Right.
Because if you're truly addicted, you would not be able, you can have serious withdrawal. And we did not have, we just did not have that.
We had
scenario.
The cognitive dissonance of the brain.
And that's kind of what I was thinking, like in my head when I would say that statement, is kind of like people are addicted to caffeine, kind of like you have to have coffee in the morning. And I always would say, I have a friend who always, every time I see him, has to have alcohol in his hand. And so I would kind of associate it with that. And I would say, and then I guess that's where I would, when I would talk about it in health class, I would tell kids, I'm like, you don't know if you're that person that is going to take a sip and have a serious lifelong issue, or if you are a person that can walk away. So you have to be very, very careful. And then I kind of go through that and say that there are some people who are completely addicted and it's completely destroyed your life. And then there's other people who, always constantly have that in their life. And I wonder if they can walk away from it.
Mm-hmm. And it's very difficult because the two of us had as you guys know, we've had a long history with it, but like literally in my early mid 40s, I wanted to walk away from it, but I couldn't. I just couldn't imagine my life without alcohol. And you definitely were like, nope, I'm not quitting drinking.
Well, I think, Susie, you had some self-limiting things, right? You said it's kind of always, enough alcohol makes everybody feel bad, but I think it sounds like you would feel bad with just a little bit of alcohol, right?
Mm-hmm. So I have always had, I guess, an adverse reaction to alcohol. Like if I have a glass of Moscato, I might be okay. But if you have to like have a Beano to have a drink of alcohol, it's probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
and I've always said how smart you are about that. Because
sometimes I'll have a drink and I'll say, I'm a lightweight. I've always been a lightweight. You can't, I lose feeling in my face, very quick.
Yep.
My ears get hot and, I don't like that feeling. When, I can push my nose off my face. I like that feeling. Or my stomach.
No. I just feel like that.
In the morning, I would feel like I had a basketball in my stomach. That just doesn't feel good.
Mm-hmm. And so,
it's not like when you get just feel like you're throwing up and stuff, but you just feel like yuck. But sometimes I will have a glass of Moscato, like if we're at a friend's house or something, or if we go out to dinner or something, maybe. But I always know it's not gonna end well. So a lot of times I won't get it because it just doesn't.
See, then that's we would go out and we're like, you can. We always were like, we just thought you always had to have a drink.
Do you guys ever get or feel, maybe it's more of an internal, personal when I was a drinker, but do you ever feel like you're judged or ever get harassed
because you don't drink?
You're not drinking or you don't drink or?
Yes.
Do you really?
Oh, for sure. So I was thinking about this the other day when we were in your car. We were driving. I don't know why I was thinking about this, but here, you guys probably, I feel like in Bloomington, if you went out to a bar and grill, I think, Amy, I've seen your things on, be ready to prep yourself for ordering an NA drink or something, or, something like that. I don't honestly know that in Saginaw or Bay City, that is something that you do. I think the bartenders would look at you like you're dumb. Like you're nuts. Like you, what? Like you want, so if I want to have something NA, they look at you like you're totally like
that's just it's not in the culture there, right?
No, interesting.
Or maybe they're just not as advanced as Bloomington Normal. I don't know, but, which could be very well the case. But, I think people that, we go to, if your staff go, our staff sometimes will go, to a bar, what is it? 5:00, Friday afternoon, happy hour, or whatever. And I'll get a Shirley Temple. And they kind of look at you like, And that's okay. But they don't. I mean, they don't do it in a bad way. But it's just kind of like, oh, you don't drink. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I,
Isn't
I,
it interesting? Because
Uh,
and I think the thing is for many people is that they don't look at alcohol that it's a real drug and that it's a toxic drug. And
I don't
I
think I
never
never did.
and I didn't realize it until I quit and I started educating myself on it that it causes breast cancer. I mean, it's directly linked to 7 types of cancer. It's directly linked to breast cancer, especially
Yeah.
for women who don't have no what is it? What do they call that? Like no history, like family history at all of having any breast cancer. And you have women who are all of a sudden they have breast cancer and they're, they can tie it like, you drank to alcohol. Alcohol is a class 1 carcinogen that causes cancer. It's
But what
directly linked to
doctors
breast
actually
cancer.
say that to anyone?
You
Oh,
don't.
right.
Well, it
Right.
depends on where you're at. Like, I mean, it just, but it is true. And doctors do know it.
But they don't say it. That's what I'm saying. They don't tell you.
Right.
And
Most doctors won't tell their patients no.
and also they drink.
Yeah, so if I tell you not to, then I'm damning myself.
Yeah, like your doctor told you.
I could keep drinking with alcohol liver.
Even with mild fatty liver.
Right.
You could go ahead and keep having a couple drinks.
What about you, Eric? I mean, you coach football and you're around all the men and the men go out and do stuff and blah blah blah.
okay, a couple
do
things.
you get the
my struggle is like I feel judgmental towards other people who are drinking sometimes, and I try not to because I know that I'm not perfect. I know there's been times when I'm drinking too much in my life, and people that I know have been around me when I've done that, and in college, even after college, and so sometimes when I don't drink, I feel like people are looking at me like I'm judgmental. You know what? So I struggle with that because I try not to be, but then in my brain I am. I'll be honest. Sometimes I probably am judgmental, especially in my profession when I think there's a glorification of alcohol, and here's a perfect example. We used to work with the youth in a church in a different place that we used to live, and the pastor of that church would provide the alcohol for the church parties. Like we'd have parties on Saturday night, and our pastor would be the one that would actually brew the beer and bring it to the party. Well, on a Sunday morning after the party, we had kids. It was in the Champaign area, so kids that would go to the U of I that were struggling with alcohol, and yet the pastor the night before at the party where these kids were at was providing the alcohol. And I'm like, what the heck, dude?
Maybe not to, but not to,
not,
I mean,
not to the kids, but
not to the kids,
but the adults where the kids were at. And so it
and
was
to
a
people
struggle
who
because
he knew were alcoholics.
Yeah, and I'm going, you're on a pedestal. You should be the one that people are looking up to. And so there's where I kind of sometimes feel a little bit judgmental because I feel like in my profession, and this is me, this is personally me, in my profession, I need to set an example. And so I will not drink around kids that I minister to. I will not drink around kids that I am teaching. And so I also really struggle drinking around parents that are of kids that I teach. So therefore, even when I'm in a bar in town or a restaurant in town, I don't know who's around. So I really struggle with all that. So I really try to be,
But I think the other fact about it is we don't feel like we have to have it though to have a good time either.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Now,
yeah,
but back
we
to
just don't need it to have a good time. We just
back to your
fun.
other question though too. Like when I taught health class, I'd always tell everybody you have to have some sort of an excuse, some sort of an escape. When I was in high school, my excuse was I'm an athlete, so I don't want to get kicked off my team. I'd go to I lived in this area, so there was a lot of parties in the area. And if for some reason I ever ended up someplace or that somebody was offering me alcohol, I would be like, no, I'm an athlete. I'm not going to drink because I don't want to get kicked off the team. That was my excuse. My other excuse was, my dad's a pastor. I can't drink. That was an excuse. And here's the thing I found really interesting is if you have an excuse, most of the time people will understand that. When I got to college, there was this tradition at our college where we got done with the football season, and it was a dumb tradition. The football team would get together and have a party, and you'd stand in this box. Every person would stand in a box, say what the football season meant to them. You'd down a shot and you'd down a beer. I remember standing there and going, "Yeah, I'm not going to do that." And for about a minute or two, I was a freshman. All the seniors were like, "Yeah." Well, all the other,
not all of them,
not all the seniors, but there's a group that was like, "Yeah, you are." And if I was like, "You want me to stay here? Give me a pop, and I'll do that, or I'll walk away. I don't have to stay at this party." And they said, "Okay, get a pop," and I got a pop. And from that point on, nobody ever pressured me again at college. Nobody. No. And I tell that to people. I'm like, it took one time to stand up. And from that point on, I'd walk in and people would go, "Okay, where's the pop for Smith?" And they give me a pop. And it was
that
like
is so good. Like
now,
you were so self-aware at that age.
But here's the thing: was I perfect? No.
No one is.
And so I still had my struggles and did stupid stuff. But that was one time when I stood up for myself. And from that point on, especially when you're a football player and all the football players will stand up for you and go, "Don't push him. Don't tempt, don't pressure him because he's not going to." They'd stick up for me at that point in time. So that taught me a good lesson of just stand up for yourself. If you stand up, and here's the other thing, when you stand up for yourself, people, you gain a whole bunch of respect. And so that taught me a lot in college. When you get into, there's a lot more men that just want to make good decisions than not. So when you make a good decision, there's a lot more men that'll follow that lead. They just need somebody to kind of show.
That's exactly why I wanted to do this podcast with Amy and be in this space, because there's so many ladies in this space doing that. But I think, Eric, to your point, too often you fall into that male stereotype. Well, I'd rather just do this because I don't want to stand out versus, being a role model, and be surprised that other people actually might not mind coming along with you, and not drink on that adventure.
No.
Yes. Well, I wanted to ask you guys this. Did you ever worry about us?
Yes.
Well, no, seriously, because I wanted, that's something I wanted to talk about, because that's something that no one ever called us out on our drinking.
Well, see,
I would Eric used me as an example, and I always thought I was hiding it pretty well from them.
Well, but here's the thing.
Well, I guess you kind of did, Eric. You kind of did with me.
But Susie says yes, and I would say no. I would say I never did. I just thought you were big social drinkers. I didn't have they're alcoholics and we need to stop them kind of an attitude.
No,
I thought you were just big social drinkers.
I guess maybe my worry would have been other things along with that.
Such as?
Well, my sister's mental health at the time.
Okay. See? And I think those are things that the reason we do this podcast too is because I think you and I had a conversation a little bit ago. Like, if you suffer from depression or anxiety, I mean, I had suicidal thoughts, and I know that it was driven by my alcohol use. I know that the anxiety from probably really our entire married life, it was driven by not per se that I was drinking as much as I was, but because it was a slow progression to where when I finally quit. But even when Luke was younger, it was I can probably, if I could go back to those times, be like, even if you drink on the weekend, we now know that it takes 7 to 10 days to get alcohol completely out of your system. Well, alcohol was never completely out of my system.
Yep.
And so you have that anxiety, you have that depression that's being fueled, even if it is just a few drinks on the weekend. And that was something that I never knew. I mean, no one in my past talked about the dangers of alcohol.
No, because that's taboo. Because
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, you were saying, um, we talk about drugs and drugs are the bad thing. And I mean, good grief, look at smoking. I mean, people think smoking is like, terrible and you would never do that. But people don't think that about alcohol because
Yeah.
it's the social drug. It's social.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get up and move on and not have that we were aware of the residual effects.
Yeah.
No.
But
Because we just drank on
have
Saturday night, so Monday I'm
yes.
fine, not a big deal, right? So that's like a lot, because a lot of the stuff that you've talked about, like I've learned from you, because I just don't drink, right? But I didn't know that it caused 7 different kinds of cancer till you shared that with me. I didn't know that. But why
Yeah.
are
I
people scared
mean,
of alcohol as much as they are scared of smoking?
well, and
No,
what
those
was it?
things, people don't tell them that because it's not
You
socially
know,
accurate. It's not
and
social.
a bottle of wine equal, what is it?
10 cigarettes.
Is it a bottle of wine equals 10 cigarettes?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And you would
People
drink a
don't know
bottle of
that.
wine.
No. I
because
know people
because
people
you're
don't know
attacking
that.
their social life. Because you
Yeah.
can have a social life without a cigarette.
Yeah. Well, and I laughed the fact, I mean, I go back a few years ago to right before I quit drinking. It would have been about a year before. And I remember when we went to see Aquaman.
Oh,
And you and I were not drinking.
I was.
And I have
Believe me.
never, I sat and
Oh,
laughed.
during
and laughed.
Aquaman, when we couldn't watch it without, we were commentating on the entire thing.
We
and
were laughing and giggling so much. And I just remember, I remember going, oh my gosh, I'm not even drinking. And that was one of those little thoughts that kind of seared into me like, oh, you know what? You don't have to have alcohol to have fun.
Although on the flip side, because Eric, you're talking about, your family never doesn't drink, your parents. And we went at least once. I know we went to Thanksgiving at your parents' house when we were up in Michigan. And all I could think of was like,
oh yeah.
I'm like, great. Well, I'm not going to be drinking. This is going to suck. I'm like, no, really. I'm like,
no,
because my family would always have alcohol at any, we still do have alcohol at any family function or holidays or whatever. And usually this would be a bottle of wine or something. I'm like,
well, and now
nothing. I'm like, I'm going to have to white knuckle this all day until this thing is over and pretend I'm like, this is the cognitive dissonance going on in my head.
Well, it's the lie that we've been sold by our society that you can't have fun without having a drink. Or honestly, the event just, not your parents, but the event just, if you have to have alcohol at an event, the event sucks probably. The event probably is really boring.
Well, if you have it or if you don't have it.
If you don't, if you don't have it and you're if you're so oh, this event's horrible and I got to have a drink, well, then maybe you shouldn't go to the event.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, and speaking of events, you're hosting a non-alcoholic wedding, right? There's no alcohol at that wedding, is there?
Right.
Yeah. We have an NA wedding.
Yeah.
I know. I'm this is kind of crazy. I mean, even for a non-drinker now, because that's what I am, I'm excited about it because I don't care, because I've been to several now social events that don't have alcohol and they have been awesome. But I know for people going, how in the world, I can't dance.
We do have people going you're not having alcohol at the wedding? No. I mean, it wasn't our decision. It was the kids' decision. It was Scott and Mercy's decision. Mercy.
Was that a mix of budget and beliefs, or which one? Obviously it doesn't have your budget.
I think a combination. I mean, because budget one, you can have we didn't have alcohol at our wedding. We had cake and punch. People when we say we had cake and punch. That was our budget.
Still married, aren't you?
We're married and we're great, and we had a great time, and the wedding still happened. We had a previous experience of a wedding prior to getting married, and we decided that anything that happened at the wedding didn't really matter because we were still going to be married, and that was the whole point of it. Because you can still be happy at a wedding, or you should be, anyways. But that was our that was our experience. So we decided from a previous wedding that we had been to that we were going to be happy no matter what at our wedding. But the alcohol, not at our wedding, it wasn't even a thought. Our budget, Dad lost his job. Our budget wasn't going to even have food in it. So, but we didn't care. We still were married. We had a good time. And so what? If people don't like it, don't come. I don't care.
And those two don't really drink, right?
What is it? And for Scott and Mercy, I feel like they have the same. Like Scott will have a drink. He likes to go out with the guys and have a great time. So when he said that they weren't having alcohol, I'm like, really?
But that's a combination.
I was kind of surprised by that with Scotty.
Some health issues for Mercy.
Mercy has health issues that she can't have alcohol.
Budget issues, and then they just didn't want to have it there. They didn't want to have the alcohol there.
They don't have to have it.
But I'll be honest with you. My first thought too was, boy, that dance floor is going to be kind of boring. But then that's even
nope, I'm there.
And so yeah, you're there.
That was your thought?
That was my
that
thought.
The dance floor was going to be boring?
Yeah. You know what's funny? We went to a wedding.
No, seriously, that is the thought. If you don't have alcohol, it's not going to be as fun.
Yeah.
Now, it's not a good thought, but that's societal's thought.
I never thought that.
But I thought this too. Like we went on a trip kind of up the thumb of Michigan and then down the other side of Michigan this summer. And every single store you stop in has alcohol related stuff. Every tourist stop that you would go to. And I remember saying this to you, Susie. I said, everything is about alcohol. Everything is tailored towards alcohol. Isn't there anything else? And,
yeah, all so much souvenirs, things like that about drinking. It's all about, that.
But here's where I also kind of feel a little judgmental because I'm like, I don't want to feel like I'm looking down on people for drinking because it's their priority, their prerogative. If they want to drink, have a drink. But do we have to glorify it? Do we have to worship it?
Yeah.
Right. That I think that, Eric, is exactly the rub.
Yeah.
It's like it's fine if you do it, right? And there's a lot of things that people
long as you like. For me, and I know one of the reasons the cognitive dissonance I had was I had elevated alcohol up to the point of being an idol
and a requirement.
And I realized that when you start thinking about where you're going to go on Friday night, and if there's going to be alcohol on a Tuesday, you're sitting there. So I also, though, I don't want to come off being judgmental either. I mean, we just want people to have informed consent, but the glorification, like you just said, I mean, it is everywhere. And from the time we are little, we are seeing it, and it's everywhere. I mean, you can even think back to Bugs Bunny cartoons.
Really?
Oh yeah. And there would be
Bugs Bunny drink?
Elmer Fudd.
Elmer Fudd.
Elmer Fudd was not a good drunk guy.
Yeah.
Well, hey, let me go back to the wedding again.
He wasn't.
Yeah.
Let me say that. My first initial thought was, it'll be boring. But my next thought was, wow, isn't that awesome? They're not going to have alcohol there. So I do really appreciate that they aren't. I mean, but isn't it interesting that our initial thought is, well, that's not normal.
Very true. I guess that would be the thing. Like a lot of people may not say that's going to be boring, but a lot of people will say, "Oh, really? That's not like, oh, that's the exact reaction that I see." Oh,
I had it. I was like, mine was more, what? Really? That was my reaction.
It's not normal.
And we went to a wedding.
And I think Scott and Mercy, good for them that, that they just decided that it's not a priority. So
yeah, I love it.
We don't have to have it. But Scott and Mercy, if they want to have a drink, they'll have a drink.
Scott
will. Mercy doesn't drink very much. She may have a glass of wine, but she doesn't drink a lot. She's not supposed to. So, and Scott will with the guys, but he'll pick a cigar over alcohol. We found out. So
I will
like whatever. We don't care.
Yeah, and I will say, like for the dancing, Like it was the first wedding that we went to, and it had alcohol.
Right.
And we went and had what we were drinking, club soda, lime, or tonic and lime, or whatever we were drinking. And we had just these plastic glasses, and we kept getting more and more. And we went out and we danced. And your cousin, who wasn't drinking that night because he's a firefighter, I think.
Yeah.
And we were like, we were just, literally, we were drinking it like it's water because it was. And so we're getting ready because we're driving home. We've got Matt's parents, and he was like, "Are you guys ready? Are you okay to drive?" We're like, "Yeah, we haven't drank.
We're just weird.
We can have fun without alcohol. Yeah. We'll go dance. We'll go dance."
He just thought that you were having drinks because
he thought we were drinking a lot. Because if you would have saw,
because we're so good at covering our
because and we were having fun.
That's another thing I tell kids too. You always put something in your hand that's not alcohol, and people aren't going to offer you alcohol. If you want to go to a party and you don't want to drink, find something else. Grab a glass, grab a red Solo cup, and put water in it, and you won't have people passing you beer. I always tell kids that.
Yeah, just you're looking the part, so nobody questions. Nobody thinks that or cares for that matter at that point. Because I have the same cup you have. Okay, it's good.
I love it.
All right, Amy, time for the final question, but I'm going to change it up. So usually we ask people what's your go-to NA drink now that you don't drink, but you guys never really drank. So I'm going to switch it up. What's your favorite NA drink that we have introduced you to?
Yeah, because you are connoisseurs. This is one thing that
we're non-alcoholics.
When you guys quit drinking, and because you're connoisseurs of alcohol too. Like we never knew. Like you guys were like, "Oh, let's do this fun drink. We'll do this fun drink." And I was like, "What will we have now?" So seriously, like we were like watching you guys introduce all your little NA drinks on Instagram, with your little things. I'm like, how do they find all this stuff? Like, where do they go? Like, I don't even and that's how I felt when you had alcohol. I was like, what do they do? Like, I don't understand all these things. Like, I can't figure them out. I don't. And so, my favorite NA drink is something that we found in Charlevoix, and I couldn't wait to share it. I'm like, we have an NA drink. We could make an NA drink that they don't know about. So this little place, I'm going to give a plug. What is it? What is that place called?
I can't remember.
The Spoon in Charlevoix. It is a drink mix, but they made it with club soda as an NA so they could have it in their store. So it wasn't really technically supposed to be that way, but
that's all right.
It was our way. And it's this cherry. It was from Michigan cherries or Michigan peaches. It was super good. We didn't get to share it because we forgot to bring it with us.
I was going to say, that was what you're supposed to bring with you.
I was super sad about it. But I like whatever the heck this thing is.
Oh, that's Mingle.
Mingle mocktail.
Eric, how about you?
Right now. And I had last night. I had a Mingle mocktail, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. You had a different flavor last night.
And Eric has this ugly can.
From our friends at Go Brewing.
Well, I didn't even want to show it to you. It's so ugly.
Don't worry.
Is it the Oktoberfest?
It'll be the drink.
Let me answer myself.
Whatever this is. This is
ugly. It's Oktoberfest.
So I don't drink pop and I don't drink alcohol. So
he does drink pop.
Not
very often, but don't let him fool you. He does like to have a Dr. Pepper.
Like once in long time.
Or a cherry pop no, he doesn't drink it. Only on fun times when we go out with you guys to watch movies. Yeah. He'll drink pop with you.
Can I answer?
No.
I drink water. That's what I drink. My 95% of what I drink is probably water. Now, you introduced me, Amy. Actually, you introduced Susie to lime water. And then what would you put in it?
I put stevia in it because I like my addiction, and Amy's going to fix this probably, is sugar.
Lime water with a little stevia, and that's what I drink. Now,
I love lime water.
I do too.
The other thing,
it's better than lemon water.
I've been researching this. Like that alcohol, not alcohol, the athletic
brewing. Yeah, it's good.
Athletic brewing. Yeah, the NA stuff for athletes.
It's called athletic.
Yeah, athletic. And I would research.
Introduced by you.
Yeah. So that was not bad.
Our son Tim has it in his refrigerator. That was surprising too.
That's awesome.
Athletic is solid.
Awesome. Well, I guess we're wrapping it up.
Yeah, they don't have a link to. We won't link to your podcast or anything because you don't have a podcast. But.
No, we only podcast with you guys.
Well, we could put the thing for spoon, whatever that.
Yeah, we'll link to spoon.
What do you call it? Spoons or spoon?
The spoon, right?
The spoon.
Oh,
we'll look it up. We'll look it up. But it's called. It's a fun little store in Charlevoix.
I just like saying Charlevoix.
I do too. I liked going there. It was a great place to go. Charlevoix. You could put that on there. Go to Charlevoix. We had a great time there. We have
to go. Maybe we'll head up to see them
eventually.
Sometime.
All right. Well, Eric and Susie, thank you for being out on the Alcohol-Free Marriage More podcast. We love you guys, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Well, thank you, Susie and Eric, for being on the Alcohol-Free Marriage and More podcast. You fall into the alcohol-free, the marriage, and the more category, so good fit. It was interesting doing a streaming podcast from people who are just downstairs in your living room, but...
You know what?
But look, I have been an example to children of the world. You don't be like Matt, kids. No, I think it's great. I mean, it's always interesting how you think maybe you're being more subtle than you really are. And no, I mean, I certainly did not take any offense. It was
no.
And if you can use it as a teaching moment, especially in hindsight now, it's like, yeah.
But they are two people that we have always admired.
Yes.
They have an incredibly strong marriage, and they are awesome people.
Oh yeah.
So if you are ever up in that area,
I was starting to think like they could Eric could be a good podcaster. He has some good. Well, he's they're teachers, so they tell good stories. So
he does tell good stories.
Yeah. So maybe we get the Mr. Smith podcast. So
there you go.
All right, kids.
It'll have to be health and fitness.
Health and fitness. Well, that's alcohol free. All right, kids, that's it for us for this week. Wishing you peace and love from the cornfields. I'm Matt, along with Coach Amy, and we are out.